What's good, YouTube? Cardfight King here, Aqua Life, baby. You already know how it is. This video, I wanted to talk to you guys about Aqua Force a little bit right now. I'm going to be bringing some other content. I'm going to be doing my brother's Narukami. Oh, there's my other bottle of water. My brother's Narukami deck profile. You know, the Raikage is back. You know, he's back. He's doing some good things with Narukami. Was able to top his first locals with it. So, all's good on that front. You know, I think you guys saw the last term report video. Was able to take Aqua Force, you know, right before Pre-Miyagi. Did really well at the tournament, so everything was going good. Post-Miyagi, however, Aqua Force is in some trouble. I literally just finished watching my boy Wave Nation's video on Aqua Force. He brought up some really good points about where the clan is at right now as well, and I kind of wanted to go off of that. And I encourage you to go check out his video as well. But right now, Aqua Force is in trouble, and I mean, holy crap, are we in trouble as far as, you know, playing Aqua Force? And it's sad because I love playing Aqua Force. I don't get the same joy, the same, you know, energy to continually play test and work on my craft and things like that I do from any other clan but Aqua Force. Link Joker to a degree, depending on what it is. But Aqua Force is in such a bad state right now. It feels like I would say we're kind of where Novas are, except it's not as bad as Novas, but you know, pretty close. We're like neighbors. Like I said, we're in some trouble. So post Miyagi, you're looking at Royal Paladins. Now, Royals have always been a good matchup versus Excel in general. Against Aqua Force, they're more of an annoying matchup. Royals got so much better. Higher lanes. They have a Vanguard that gets a crit now, able to recycle their blaster blades. They also have the board wipe and escaplate, who got more consistent with Dream Painter out now, being able to put the blaster blade, you know, that could be in your drop zone that you maybe intercepted off with, into your soul, you know, so they could ride escaplate and do all their shenanigans with that and clear a board. Now, obviously, you want to play a more tempoed style against Royal Paladins anyways, but post Miyagi, they push even harder, especially with, you know, Bedivere and K being able to spit out a really nice field early, turn 2, also having the ability to, you know, not commit too much from hand, still get a board. So, I mean, it's still really strong, I would say. World's gotten better, and they're only going to get better going into Heroic Evolution and so on and so forth. Then we look at Shadow Paladins. Shadow Paladins have always been, to me, our worst matchup out of all the other clans, and just from what they do, and they get even faster. Swordbreaker, you know, yada yada yada. So that matchup just got a whole lot worse than it needed to be, and it's just still hard in general. But then you take a look at what, you know, Dark Irregulars. I think we still have a decent matchup against Dark Irregulars. And I'm looking, you know, this is post-Miyagi, even going into vilest deleter it is. But Dark Irregulars, we still have a decent matchup against. They're not exactly fast again. Murakumos are disgusting. And actually, let me save Murakumos for last because they are a little bit more than what we need. And before I get to deleters, let's finish Miyagi. Narukami, we just have a really bad matchup against. Narukami, So I play test with my brother a lot against his Narukami deck, and I feel as if we have to push them hard. We have to push them hard, force them into a corner, and try to get them to 6 as fast as possible. You kind of don't want to overcommit because they can still blow up your board. At the same time, you want to commit enough that you push them, because they have the ability to get, free rear guards in Phoenix. They have the ability to hit, 24k easily with Death Scythe and Thunderstorm Dragoon. Tectonics is a really nice restander. Ricky has the ability to move things up to the front row, though he's not used that often. They still have the ability to take cards that are in your front, that are in your back row, move them to the front row, and then attempt to clear your board in that scenario. And then you have Tectonic Stinger, who again, the break ride play with Tectonics, being able to make Tectonics a base 22. Call Stinger to the rear. Stinger can counterblast 1, blow something up. Now you have an Excel Circle with a card that's at 27k. Your Vanguard's at 22k. They have the option to restand depending on how your board is after they've finished clearing out your front row. It's just that deck is disgusting, and it really hurts. They really hurt us. Gold Paladins, for instance. Gold Paladins, I feel like we have a decent matchup against the Garmor variant, but against Ezel, if Ezel doesn't brick, then it's kind of like we lose. They kind of get the jump on us. We do not build up enough hand or resource or whatever it is to deal with Raven-haired turn after turn. Gold Paladins, give Narukami trouble. They give every deck trouble just from the fact that they're able to spit out a board and then pressure. Now, Ezel is prone to bricking, and when they brick, it's kind of like, yeah, this is what happens to a glass cannon at times. But, if they don't brick, they can definitely make you extremely uncomfortable. And even if it's somewhat of a back and forth game, they're always on the attack. They're always doing different types of battle phase combos. Now they have access to like Howl, providing an additional soul and things like that. So Gold Paladins are definitely a challenge for us to face again in general. Nubatamas. Nubatamas aren't exactly the super hard, but I mean, if they start flowing right, get their grade 3 rides, get the, playing the discard build, get the whole Kuchikiri Congo stuff going, then drop the bird, and, then, you have to drop 5 from your hand. That can be devastating in itself, but again, it just kind of depends on how early we push them. How fast can we get them to be a little bit uncomfortable? But that doesn't always happen because, sometimes, you don't draw on the title and algos, so you have to overcommit to your board to get a certain number of attacks. Sometimes the opponent will starve you, will hit your rear guard, starve you from Navel Gazer, and then, you're not really drawing into additional rear guards that you need. You need to hope to try to top deck a Title Assault or something, and then, you're just sitting there in trouble. Maelstrom, if they're clearing out your board, forcing discard, it can be hard to, maintain things to get you to, the number of battles you need to at least threaten a restand and whatnot. So Nubatamas can be difficult in that area, but I think that we still do well against them. Now, if you're playing against like a Magatsu Storm-ish variant, I think we have a much better chance against them because they're not really attacking our hand and forcing us to discard or bouncing our stuff and then discarding and whatnot. They are more invested in bouncing themselves and kind of protection. They're kind of like a let me protect myself type of thing. So, there is that. An Oracle Think Tank. Oracle Think Tank, I feel like we can do decent against, but with this new stuff from what they got in the set, their offensive power has just increased significantly, and I feel like OTT definitely can, they hold their water against us a whole lot more, no pun intended, a whole lot more than they did. The Daughter Deer play still is, a game winner, devastating. Overall, like fighting against OTT, again, it's another matchup where you have to damage race them, and a lot of times damage racing won't get where you need to be, especially with they have new divination or scrying abilities, which allow them to stack the top of their deck, maybe plan out a turn ahead where here's a trigger, let me shut you down, things like that. So OTT is still just not a great matchup for us. Even if it is Protect versus Excel, it's not a great matchup for us. Looking back at going over relevant decks, looking back at Neo-Nectars. Neo-Nectars is still a hard matchup for us. It's, to me, one of the best force decks in the game. They're able to spit out a board turn 2, still keep the pressure up. Cecilia pumps their board up, and they can just hit big numbers, and they're just fast. Neo-Nectars can move faster than us at times, and they're a force deck, so you know how that goes. So Neo-Nectar still present us with a lot of trouble, and we can't guard all of their lanes, and it just doesn't equate to anything. It really, their mechanic, the way they fill their board up and things like that, really throw us off what we want to accomplish during a game, just from the fact that they can move faster and achieve what they need to a lot faster than we can. It's not just about putting a board, but it's like putting out board, getting the tree to draw a card. Then you have like the tomato that lets them draw a card by popping 2 tokens. Then he turns himself into 2 tokens. You have Trailing Rose who buffs your tokens, which you can spit out early game turn 2 and and have to guard 15, 15, 25, something like that. And then you have Cecilia, who builds a board for free essentially, and their front row gets plus 10k plus the force markers, and they can just start going downhill from there. Angel Feathers are difficult. Like my boy Wave Nation said, if you don't pressure them to a certain extent and they start riding Metatron, they start healing, they're hitting their triggers, they start throwing hospital at you left and right, you're not going to win. They have the ability to recover from a rush and then start controlling the pace of the game. So in that scenario, that's where I think Angels definitely can take over where we are. But I still think that we have a decent matchup, but not a great one. Great Nature still runs us over. I think it's a damage race between both of us, but Great Nature still just runs us over. It's not even, yeah, and mostly I'm going off relevant decks, like maybe Mega Colonies, Tachikaze, Dimension Police, things like that. You don't really see them nowadays. Grand Blue, you don't really see them nowadays, but we already kind of know our matchups versus them. However, again, saving these last 2 decks, I want to look at Murakumo and Deletors. Deletors is fairly simple. They delete your Vanguard. You have to deal with the 0 power Vanguard. You have to make sure that you have enough to ride, but with Aqua Force, we don't have the ability to grasp a lot of hand and then or add cards to our hand, and so we have to make sure we have additional grade 3 rides, which means that we need to soften up on committing grade 3 to the rear guard as well. However, we have to deal with being deleted, having to block a turn while being deleted, and then seeing how far we can push back on their turn, because deleters also come equipped with the ability to banish delete our rear guards as well. Whether it's upon deletion or while deleted or after the battle. Sorry, I was getting Chinese food, lunch special, baby. You already know. But yeah, so we have to deal with a lot of things that deleters put pressure on us, and I think that yes, deleters can be slow. Yes, if they do the give and play, they don't kill you, and you have enough to push back, then you can defeat them. Sure. But I think that deck, just where it's at in the game right now, is just so far ahead of Aqua. It's just a bit far ahead of Aqua Force right now that we do struggle to do something against it. I actually play tested with my boy Wave Nation. He was using Aqua Force and I was using deleters, and it just seemed a little bit, on his side, when he was telling me that, with deleting and things like that, like, we did practice the matchup a lot, and it was just a little bit, the delete mechanic coupled in with what, you're able to accomplish gaily and things like that were just a bit overwhelming as well. So, there's that, but then you have, to top it all off, the Shirayuki Zanbaku deck. That deck is dumb, but we get destroyed by that. I mean, holy crap, do we get destroyed by that deck? I play tested against it. I literally got so mad I threw my phone because I was so sick of losing to the deck. And I was play testing it with Aqua Force. Even I was using other clans as well. And I can talk about more about the Shirayuki deck, about my anger play testing session when I was just super tilted. But, again, playing Aqua Force, one drop of Shirayuki into the guard circle turns off damn near our entire turn. It's like, yes, it's kind of like they hit a trigger on their damage, but if you drop Shirayuki here, then they can intercept and whatnot, and it's like they're committing one card from it. It's not like they're taking a damage and then turning our turn off. It's that they're blocking with a grade 3 card, and turning off a lot of things we want to do with our turn, turning our 25k grade 3 or 25k Lazarus, 22k Tidal Salt into 12k, into 15k for essentially a 5k block. Turning our Vanguard to a 3k to like 2k power, where we would need we need a trigger to hit, and then the intercept means we need 2 to pass. Not that that's a big issue, but then it's like we can't even execute our strategy of probably just swinging at the rear guard, knocking them out here and there, setting up Maelstrom for a threatening reset, anything like that, and it wouldn't be threatening. Couple that in with the Shirayuki grade 2 cards, Jakotsu Girl. You don't let her hit. There's Soul for Shirayuki and Zanbaku. You don't let anything hit on the board regardless. Rainy Madam goes into the Soul, grabs a Shirayuki from the drop zone. Shirayuki on place can minus our board by 10, or at least 3 cards in our front row by 10. Plays on Vanguard circle, plays on rear guard circle, minus it by 5. That's fine, because if you have 4 Soul, you could probably do a total of 15. Rise Shirayuki, call one out, Soul Blast 4 essentially, and minus your stuff by 15. I mean, it's possible for that to happen. But then you have the Arrestor side. And the thing is that it feels like there's 2 different engines in that Murakumo deck, but they work so well together, because right now you're literally playing with just a Zanbaku Arrestor engine alongside the Mandala Lord type of deck. Then you just take Mandala Lord type cards out of there and throw in a Shirayuki engine, and bam, there you go. You have a top tier deck. Zanbaku can lock us down on Maelstrom Naval. And we don't really mind being locked down on them, because we're at least both the cards are built to be able to survive with just one Excel circle. You don't need to re-ride, things like that. But they still have the ability to get off the full lock, and the full lock against Murakumo can be very devastating, especially for an Excel deck that doesn't add cards to their hand. We don't add extra cards to our hand like an OTT does and things like that. So that deck is just extremely good, and it has so many ways of shutting us down. And I think the one game where I had some minimal success against it was being able to push them early. They didn't get to their Shirayuki. They didn't get to their Shirayuki cards. Didn't draw into Jakotsu Girl. Didn't draw into Shirayuki. And it was kind of like playing against just a regular Zanbaku type of deck, except without Fushimi. You have Jakotsu Girl, though you didn't draw it. It's like they didn't draw their Fushimi, but they saw their Arrestors and maybe some of their new grade 1s. But again, that made a leeway. But once they draw into the Shirayuki or the Jakotsu Girl to search out the Shirayuki, if you don't let her hit, then they start snowballing, and then you get in trouble. So what I'm saying is, guys, is that was a bit of a matchup analysis from my playtesting, post Miyagi, post vilest deleter. Just from what I've been seeing as far as Aqua Force goes. And we're just in trouble. We're just in trouble until we get the new support. I can understand people not really wanting to take Aqua Force to play in the tournament, maybe unless it's just the locals and you're just trying to have fun, kind of see where you're at with the deck versus the new meta and things like that. But, I mean, looking ahead, you got Heroic Revolution, or Evolution, whatever they call it, Royals are going to get stronger. Link Jokers are going to get stronger. Novas are going to get some support. You have Bermudas coming out soon as well. They look decent, I guess. But right now, I think that it's time for us to get some support. It really is. And I've consistently said this. We were like, what, the third Excel deck to come out. Tachikaze's came out, but they can hold their own in a bit because they have the ability to get extra cards in their hand through, their equip gauge mechanic. And their mechanic is generally what keeps them, around and things like that. Though they do have to see the combo pieces, regardless, they still have that ability. But, Aqua Force and Nova Grappler, they've always been such similar type of decks, and because they're such similar type of decks, we kind of get treated the same. Essentially, I would say the one thing that kind of that separates us is the fact that we have two Vanguards that are slightly better than Perfect Riser, and we have two rear guards in Algos and Tidal who act as two rear guards in the same, two rear guards on one circle, and have an automatic ability that allows them to restand outside of, Nova Grapplers just have Burst Riser, but Nova Grapplers also don't have a reliable countercharge method. Their countercharging is, an on hit from Perfect Riser to a rear guard or a Vanguard. So, though we are slightly better than Nova Grapplers, like I said, we're neighbors. Not too much separates us. We do have the ability to face against some of these other decks, some of these better decks with a different style, a more tempoed style, where we're not, forced to spit our hand out, kind of like Nova Grappler does in a way, or we can't spit our hand out like Ezla does and reap so much benefits from that, as far as pushing our opponent to a certain damage, then Ravenhaired being a singular good Vanguard, field or no field, swinging in for an extra crit, at a base of 27. We're not them. And we're not Murakumo, who now has who not only kind of controls your gift mechanic, but also can control how you guard during a turn, and what your power levels are going to be at through the new stuff with Shirayuki. It's just different, and I think it's time for us to get support. I think we're in trouble, and that's all I got to say right now. If you want me to elaborate more on this, please let me know what you want me to elaborate on a little bit more, and I'm going to be glad to do that. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. Go see Wave Nation's video as well. He brought up some great points. But yeah, struggling. We need some more additions to our card pool, please. And probably I could talk about what else we need. Lord have mercy, a Vanguard that does something, a much better grade 1 lineup. I think we have a solid grade 2 lineup. Maybe we can get one more piece in there. I think Algos and Tidal are just really solid cards, and we can just have something that definitely complements them well in the grade 2 lineup. Have a Vanguard that interacts with them really well. Maybe something like Tetra Drive. Ooh, help, please, thank you. But yeah. Alright, but this is Cardfight King, Aqua Life, baby. You already know how it is, and we out here.